Digital stuff here. So we call it tomorrow's headlines today, Jason. So I give you big stories, and you predict with
stunning accuracy.
Unbelievable.
I think that's the phrase you like. Yes.
Sometimes it's bizarre how accurate you are. So you ready to go?
Yeah, got the crystal ball out. Let's rock and roll.
All right. Tomorrow's headlines today. Headline after the completion of the finals.
Yes, so I think we can agree that the Suns let the Bucks back in the series, right?
Yes.
But I can tell you right now, the headline will be Dear Freeze in Sunlight. Give me the Suns prevailing. Listen, this is a Monty Williams issue. We got to solve the offensive rebounding. 30-11, they got offensive rebounded by in the last 2 games. And Colin, as long as they can get the boards at home and prevent the fast break points, 15-0 Bucks in game 4. I still believe the Suns are the team. I'm with Joy. I thought the Suns all along were going to roll. I did think they could do it in 5. And Colin, they led by 9 in the fourth quarter.
I know.
Chris Paul choked it away. We'll talk to him about him shortly. But I really like the Suns to prevail in the series and oust the Bucks.
Tomorrow's headlines today. What's the headline going to be for Chris Paul after the finals?
Man, well, I crushed him on my podcast, and I know a lot of people like Chris Paul, right? He's got a lot of fans out there. The headline will be Cliff Paul sits as CP3 returns. Obviously, the commercial juggernaut that is Chris Paul. Listen, 15 turnovers in the last 3 games.
No, he's been a mess.
That's the worst playoff stretch he's had since 2012.
Wow.
He has not had that bad of a 3-game stretch. He basically vomited all over himself in the final 3 minutes there with the turnovers, the bad passes.
Yep.
It felt like the moment was a little too big for him. And you know Chris Paul has a history of getting super tense, right? And he gets these injuries and gets on his teammates. I do believe he will rebound. He cannot play any worse. If you look at his point trajectory, 32 in the opener, down to 10 in game 4. Straight down. You wonder if maybe he's getting old, but I have faith in Chris Paul to prevail and oust the Bucks.
Tomorrow's headlines today. What will they be for Giannis after the finals?
Well, I heard Nick Wright here on Monday. I mean, talking about Giannis like he's Shaq. And listen, Giannis has been outstanding. The headline will be, where the freak is everyone? I mean, Chris Middleton, 31% from 3 on the road in the playoffs. You watch. He is going to have an awful game 5. And let's talk about Drew Holiday, can we? Like, they got him to win the title. He's shooting 34% in the series.
He's really struggled offensively.
And then you talk about Brook Lopez, who they barely play anymore. Hasn't played 30 minutes in a game. They're putting Bobby Portis, Big Eyes Portis out there. Pat Connaughton played well at home, but we know on the road, role players struggle.
That's right.
And that's where I think the problem will be in games 5. And if we go 7, I just don't know who steps up. And listen, I'm not a huge fan of Chris Middleton. He was great in game 4. But you look at the splits, home and road. All season, he's like 10% less from 3 on the road, 5% less from the field. Like, Giannis just needs help, and I can see him getting upset with the situation in Milwaukee if his teammates don't step up.
Yeah, so you made a point there, which is actually very accurate. In the history of the NBA, role players usually play well at home. They're not nearly as valuable on the road.
Yeah.
All right, now some breaking news this morning. Tomorrow's headlines today. Damian Lillard, what's the headline reportedly asking for a trade soon?
Oh, I love this story. I'm sure you did an hour on it at least today, right?
At least today.
The headline will be, Dame takes a step in the right direction. Damian Lillard and the Warriors. That's the hot rumor this week. Now, I know the Laker fans. I played tennis with a Laker fan this morning. He's like, we got to get Dame. We got to get. I was like, just relax. Do you know who's working Dame Lillard right now on the Olympic team? Draymond Green. We know he's a big recruiter. He recruited Kevin Durant.
Yes.
So guess who Damian Lillard warms up with? Like, Steve Kerr is literally throwing him passes in USA basketball warmups. So you got Draymond, you got Steve Kerr there. And you look at the assets that the Warriors have, Colin. Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, who was, top 5 pick, 7-footer. 2 lottery picks this
year.
In
a good draft. Not just 2 lottery picks, in a really good draft.
And Portland fans might say, well, we don't want that. Well, you don't have a choice. If Damian Lillard says, I want out, which according to Henry Abbott, it's going to happen in the next few days. If Dame Lillard says, I'm out of here, you kind of have to acquiesce. He's been the greatest player in franchise history. I mean, he's got to be up there, right?
He and Drexler.
You got...
Bill Walton didn't play very long.
Exactly. LaMarcus Aldridge is good, but, I mean, this is a guy who scored 55 points in a playoff game on 24 shots. That's just obscene. He did that against Denver. I think you talk about Steph, Dame, and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, Colin, that is a juggernaut. And that's not good news for LeBron and AD.
Well, it's interesting. I'll throw one at you. So Philadelphia can give you the most between like length, Simmons, Thibault, draft picks. The Warriors, so they would make you a very good defensive team, but you lack a shooter unless they give you Curry. The Warriors can give you the future. 2 lottery picks in Wiseman. You get rid of Andrew Wiggins eventually, right? Just let me just throw this at you. Paul George, Damian Lillard.
We did talk about that 2 weeks ago, but Kawhi Leonard's now out for like almost all of the next season, right, with the ACL. So is Damian Lillard coming to the Clippers to play by himself?
It's a way better roster than Portland's.
Is it without Kawhi, though?
Well, if Kawhi comes in, how long will Kawhi be out?
Supposedly
All-Star break?
February?
Okay.
Like, does Dame want to carry the Clippers?
Well, I think you would. I think you could do it but my point being, don't poo-poo that. A-pluses don't get traded for A-pluses ever. So if Dame's an A-plus and Paul's an A-minus, and a bench player or a good player or a draft pick.
Paul George and C.J. McCollum is still top 7 seed in the West, right?
That's
I mean,
what
you're going to the playoffs every year.
Yes.
Or you could try to press the reset button and rebuild. That could work.
That could be the Warriors route, I think. All right, tomorrow's headlines today. NFL news, Big Ben trying to get in shape. What's the headline for Big Ben?
How excited are you for NFL right now? I've just been cramming NFL previews all week, like working at home. It's exciting. The headline for Big Ben will be Heavy B and the boys. Ben Roethlisberger. Colin, this is every offseason. Ben Roethlisberger. He's eating right. He's dieting. He's lifting weights. He's in the gym. He's a leader. Can we talk about what happened last season? I mean, final 7 games, 10 interceptions. It was a train wreck. This is a guy who had to make major sacrifices with his contract just to return to Pittsburgh. Now, Colin, this is not too hot of a take for the herd. Who is the worst quarterback in that division? Because it's not Lamar Jackson. It's not your guy Baker Mayfield. And if you ask me who I'm taking, Joe Burrow or Ben Roethlisberger, I'm going with Joe Burrow right now.
If the timeline is more than a year, it's Ben Roethlisberger.
He's 36, Colin. I mean, the guy...
Well, you end up in life... it's funny. If you age well based on how you lived. So he, as an NFL quarterback, he is aging poorly because of how he's lived. He doesn't work in the offseason. It's a Jurassic audible system. As the game gets more sophisticated, Ben feels completely outdated, whereas Brady, as he's aged, and Aaron Rodgers, as he's aged, because those are guys that do a ton of film study, have sophisticated audible systems. What do you know? They age better.
That division has a bunch of Teslas and hybrid cars and high ends, and Ben is like, an 87 Oldsmobile that has a lot of miles on it and still can get you from point A to point B, but is it taking you to the playoffs? I don't know if the Steelers are a playoff team this year.
I made my prediction. I have them at 8 and 9.
They're the worst team in that division.
Well, no.
The Cincinnati Bengals are going to be dramatically better.
Yeah, but the Steelers' front seven's excellent.
Defensively?
Yes, their front seven is great.
Offensive line, though?
The worst they've
Very
had
bad.
in
No
years.
run game.
No run game.
Boy, Steelers fans are going to get upset at that. But
that's true.
Joe Burrow had them in every game until he got hurt last year, except for the Ravens game. Joe Burrow was excellent. That's a buy sign for me on the Bengals, despite their shaky coach. I'm not a huge fan.
All right. So you like the Suns in 6 or 7? I have a hard time seeing them hoist a trophy in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee, Bucks are unbelievable at home. I'll go 7. Fine, I'll capitulate. I'll piggyback Joy and you. Suns in 7.
All right.
But I like him to cover 3.5 tomorrow night. I was rolling in the finals until game 4. I
thought it was a 4-point spread.
It's 4 now.
I say 4. I like him still at 4.
You like Milwaukee at 4?
No. Suns.
Yes,
They're
so do
8-2 at home. They've won 6 by double digits in the playoffs. Phoenix, for sure.
Very good. And by the way, he's got a podcast that's very popular with the kids. It's called Straight Fire with Jason.